Hey guys, welcome to an update here for Tekken 8. We've had a new update from the development team in regards to the changes that they want to implement here with Season 2 starting on April 1st. They want to highlight a few more things that actually talk about the defense side of the game and how they're going to improve that. And also they're going to change stuff for the future, including that we're going to get chip damage on breaking throws successfully. This is cool, so let's go into detail here quickly. As to say here, in Season 1, offensive options utilizing the heat system had become somewhat formulaic, making it difficult for players to express their individual playstarts. Additionally, the advantages for the attacking player during heat save were often too great, leading to one-sided match developments, an issue we've acknowledged. Now let's see how they will acknowledge it. With that in mind, Season 2 introduces a wide range of updates to the battle system and significant adjustments and new moves for each character, based on the following 3 guiding principles. The first one we already heard about. Expanding the strategic options with the heat system. Activating heat provides a major advantage, creating opportunities to pressure opponents with mid-low mix-ups. However, characters lacking strong standing low attacks have been unable to fully capitalize on this advantage. Progressive, we made it possible to transition into a crouching state after a successful heat engager hit by inputting down back, down, or down forward, giving players more options to apply pressure. Additionally, certain characters can now perform a heat smash or heat burst from unique stances. They say certain characters, not every character can do this. We know because they showed it in previous Tekken talks that, for example, with Safina in her, I think, Tarantula stance, when she's standing there, from there she can use both Heat Smash and Heat Burst. With that, they're going to enhance the combo variety in mind games during neutral. This does not mean that every character that has a stance can also, from there, use the Heat Burst, for example. For characters who previously had limited tactical options during Heat, we've introduced new Heat exclusive moves to make the Heat state more appealing and dynamic. Something that we see, for example, with Reina, where instead of her low heat smash, now it becomes an heat exclusive mode. And also additionally, it seems that they had down 2 into 1+2, which we already seen in the last talk, a new heat exclusive move that you cannot use outside of heat. Now, once again, we're going to need the full list of these moves for every character, what they exactly have changed, but this will come sadly only on Tuesday, when actually the update 2.0 will be introduced. Rebalancing offense and defense within the heat system. So this is the new and exciting part. To address overly one-sided match dynamics, we've reduced chip damage across the board during heat state, where its impact was most pronounced. Once again, we're missing concrete numbers here, but at least they say, hey, we're going to reduce the chip damage you can do. Additionally, in endgame scenarios, it had become common to secure KOs by landing chip damage via heat dash, following by a quick finishing move, limiting creative decision making. That's literally what I do. If I am successful enough, I do heat dash, and even if they block it, after that I just do, for example, down for 1-1 as a mid check, and then mostly people duck because they think there's a low coming because they're so low on health. Very successful strategy in blue ranks. To improve this, we've lowered the additional chip damage when heat dash is blocked. So after you go from a heat dash forward, and even if you block it, now there's going to be less chip damage being applied. We've also made adjustments to how recoverable health works now. Even damage taken while grounded will leave recoverable gauge. As it was before, that was true damage that you cannot recover. Now, if you're grounded and you take grounded damage, it will actually just chip damage, which I personally think, okay, this is more chip damage being introduced, which beforehand was not chip damage. This not only softens the offensive pressure of heat, but also makes its defensive merits more tangible, giving defending players more opportunities to recover and fight back. Moreover, Heat Dash has long had numerous benefits, particularly when used from heat engages with Power Crush properties. However, this created a gap in between characters and often led to unbalanced mind games. To address this, we've removed the Power Crush property for most heat engagers, or replaced them with other moves, except in a few cases where it's part of a character's identity. So this is also the first time they actually acknowledge, hey, characters have identity and we don't want to destroy them. A lot of pros, like a certain Italian player, for example, was very adamant that some characters will literally be just completely removed of their identity and just get the same Tekken 8 identity, which is mix up, and being constantly plus frames. Now, how valid this will all be, of course, once again, we need more details, but at least they talk a little bit about it. They heard it. And I feel at least being heard gives me a better feeling overall. Once again, let's keep reading. Exceptions include characters like Jack 8, Kuma and Panda, and Leo, whose unique stances retain Power Crush properties on the heat engages. So these are at least concrete names here that we have filing. And we know, okay, for these characters, their Power Crush and heat engages will stay. So for the Bears, for example, we'll be back to, well, there's even more in here. Improvements in controls to bolster defensive techniques and provide more enjoyable play. Let's see what they think about that. Historically in Tekken, it was not possible to sidestep toward the foreground while in a crouching state. This created situations where, for example, a string that could be avoided from a one player side left became unavoidable from the player 2 side right, leading to imbalances in mind games unrelated to player skill or knowledge. In Season 2, this issue has been resolved. Players can now sidestep toward the screen even while crouching, ensuring that movement options are consistent regardless of sight. Additionally, quality of life improvements include input buffering at the start of rounds, allowing players to execute a move the instant the round begins. Input buffering for sidesteps, for example down, down, or up, up, even during recovery or stun states, so players can buffer movement and execute it seamlessly once able to act. These changes aim to improve the overall responsiveness and fluidity of control, helping players of all levels enjoy the game more comfortably. Now these are the 3 things that we already heard about. You can buffer inputs, even if you're, for example, during a string, you're blocking the string, and the first frame you can act, now you can buffer actually an action in there. So you don't need to react and hope that you do your input on exactly the frame that you can active again. Now you can actually buffer, for example, the sidestep. If you see certain strings, you know you can SSR, for example, a certain end of a string of 3 hits. Then after the 2 hits being blocked, you just do double tap up, for example, or double tap down, and then you will be able to sidestep on the first frame that you can. Very nice. And of course, the big thing, being a full crouch and now being able to step into the foreground, meaning on player 1 side, SSR, or on player 2 side, SSL. These are the things that are coming with 2.0, right? So remember again, from heat engagers, you can go into full crouch. Chipping will already be lowered a little bit, so after heat dashing, that chip damage will be lowered. And if you're grounded, you also take just chip damage, not real damage. And also, of course, both the input buffering and being able to sidestep into the foreground from a crouching position. Now they're talking about the future as well. Regarding future adjustments, additionally, in order to address issues pertaining to the large frame advantage on heat activation and the excessive strength of heat dash, the development team is currently in the final stages of making adjustments geared towards re-evaluating aspects that impact the strength of offense, and also a focus on improvements in defense. These adjustments are scheduled to be completed by the opening of TWT 2025 on May 9th. So what they're saying basically is here, yeah, we cannot change the update anymore for April 1st, when 2.0 will launch, but they're really pressing that for the update after that, for the beginning of May, so basically version 2.01, they're going to address even more issues. Let's accept that for April. It's going to be a little bit of madness. They cannot just go in and stop the update from happening. There's a long chain of events that need to happen, including, as I understood, having talked to some developers over the years, also just certifications from, for example, the console makers that you go through, and you cannot just simply overgo. Then they just have to put out this update as it's being scheduled now. But for May, they can still work on it. So, all right, then I'm going to accept that personally. So what I hope is that they're going to take away this plus 17 on heat engage, because that's probably one of the biggest things overall. 17 frames time to do your thing on a successful heat engager is quite strong. They don't know what they're going to do here, but they're going to evaluate it. So once again, we have to wait here. And now we get to the big thing that I introduced in the beginning. Chip damage on successfully breaking throws. So what they're saying here, throw mechanic adjustments based on community feedback. Changes to throw mechanics. In Season 2, to address the difficulty of countering throws, the following adjustments have been implemented. Alright, loosening the input window for throw breaks using 1 and 2 together. This change aims to reduce instances where players fail to break throws despite successfully predicting them, particularly due to the difficulty of executing simultaneous button presses. Now this has been further expanded that, for example, if you're not having a 1+2 bind, so you can first frame successfully hit 1+2, but you do manually 1 and 2 together as 2 individual buttons, it can happen that, of course, because it's a 60 FPS game, you hit the 1 on the one frame and then the 2 on another frame, meaning that the game will register first the 1 and not the 1+2 that follows immediately afterwards. Now, what it says here, there's some leeway that you have whatever frames, not actually determined right now, so you can press 1 and 2 slightly delayed by a few frames or at least 1, and it will still count as successful 1+2 break, which is good. Increased recovery from whiffed normal throws. So the generic 1-3 or 2-4 throws, let's say here, adjustment intent. By increasing the recovery on whiff by 6 frames, players will have an easier time punishing opponents who miss their throws, especially when using crouches or backdashes to evade. This is a big defense thing. So they specifically say, hey, if you're crouching to evade a grab, or if your backdash should be out of reach, now you can also much easier punish people that with these generic throws. However, they say here also, considering that throws are often ineffective against opponents who can react and break them upon seeing the animation, additional benefits are being provided to the player attempting the throw. All right, this is what we're getting. When a throwback is successfully performed, the thrower will recover 1 point of recoverable health. Okay, if they have recoverable health, they're going to get 1 point back. When a throwback is successfully performed, player that was grabbed will receive 5 points of recoverable health damage. And that's the thing now. Revised adjustment after community feedback. Number 4 is what they shown here on Monday. You will receive 5 points of chip damage if you successfully break a throw. After the community feedback, this is what they changed. After the initial announcement, the development team received feedback from players and reconsidered one of the proposed adjustments. It was concluded that imposing a disadvantage on the defender for executing a successful throw break would be excessive, as throw breaking is a high skill mechanic that reflects a player's practice and proficiency. Thank you. What did I spend all these hours here in practice learning how to break these throws? As such, the following spec will be scrapped in an upcoming patch. When a throwback is successfully performed, player that is scrapped will receive 5 points of recoverable health damage. Note, while these changes will be applied as soon as possible, there might be a slight delay following the release of version 2.0. The adjustments are scheduled to be completed before the opening of TWT 2025 on May 9th. So, once again, they say, yes, the person that is throwing, even if the throw was being broken, they get 1 point of health back from recoverable damage. If there's nothing there, of course, they won't get the health. And they're going to remove... It's going to get introduced. So on Tuesday, if you break a throw, you will get 5 damage of chip. But remember, on Tuesday, when 2.0 releases, you will still get these 5 points of chip damage after successfully breaking a throw. But also, they're going to remove that again immediately the next update. As it is again, these game development cycles, they have certain things that you have to go through, and after a certain point, you cannot just change them anymore. So we have to live with for a month. If you break a throw successfully, you will get 5 points of chip damage. But once the professional season begins with the Tekken World Tour in May, for that update, 2.01, they're going to remove that. So it's only there for 1 month. Let's accept it as it is. The business is a big word out there. Game development has become very complicated. Cannot just change your mind back again. That's how it is. But at least they decided, hey, that's too much. So Tekken 8 for now is not fully transforming into Soul Calibur 6. Alright, Kohei Ikeda, or also known as Nakatsu, has also talked here on Twitter as well. So he says here, in Season 2 I have spoken in the Tekken Talk Live and interview videos about the upcoming defensive improvements. However, I feel that I haven't fully conveyed the details and the significance of these changes. They truly have not. Everyone felt betrayed after that EVO interview. Thankfully, they did a little bit more explanation. And while I still say, let's take a short pause here. While I still say, yeah, they could do even more for defense, but we'll get them there, hopefully, with solid and, of course, hopefully, respectful feedback. We'll see. Season 2 introduces major system changes to sidestepping and movement mechanics. You can now sidestep toward the foreground while in crouching state. You can complete the input for a sidewalk using input buffering. I would like to explain how these changes will affect matches using some video examples. Of course, I fully understand that the effectiveness of these adjustments may vary depending on factors like the character size, the sidestep and sidewalk performance, and the access situation when moves hit or are blocked. There may also be scenarios where a safer and simpler option than sidestepping is available. Please keep in mind that these videos are simply reference examples to demonstrate how the increased sidestep and sidewalk options will contribute to defensive improvements. The sample video and explanation can be found in the thread. With one example here, Jin versus Nina. The first example involves left side Jin getting hit by Nina's stiletto heel, down back 3. In this situation, Nina's uppercut, jab, down for 1-2 is a stable follow-up that takes advantage of the frame advantage. Until Season 1, characters could only perform move sideways into the background from a crouching state, making it extremely difficult to evade the uppercut into jab using a sidestep to the background. However, in Season 2, since it's now possible to perform a sidestep towards the foreground from a crouching state, evading the uppercut into jab becomes significantly easier compared to using a sidestep into the background. As a result, Nina will need to consider moves that counter a sidestep toward the foreground, limiting her stable options despite having a frame advantage. This gives Jin more defensive options, making it harder for Nina to apply pressure consistently. As we watch the video here, as we can see, there you go. You can just take it here. She's +4 on successful hit, and then these 2 jabs come out. Now in season 1, as we see here, you cannot go into foreground after being forced to crouch. It will just eat that. Unless you hold back. Now in season 2, you want to go SSL here, you will get hit. And from crouching state after successful down big free hit, you can do the SSR into the foreground. And you can even launch Nina for that. We have another example here. Lydia versus Steve. The second example features Lydia on the left side after landing her move, Lame Duck down 2. If it scores a counter hit, it guarantees a follow-up with Flash Elbow while crouching down forward 2, leading to a heat activation. It's a rare move with crouch status that can be used to launch a strong offense, making it quite valuable. However, on a normal hit, Lydia is left at -4 frames, meaning the opponent in this scenario would usually retaliate with a 30-frame left uppercut, down forward 1 as a stable option. In the scenario where Lydia is on the left side, she can easily evade Steve's left uppercut, down forward 1, using a sidestep into the background. However, the situation changes drastically when she is on the right side, where the sidestep into the background is not an option. With season 2, as shown in the video, Lydia can now sidestep toward the foreground even from a crouching state, allowing her to evade the opponent's attack and create a situation where the opponent is at risk. As you can see here, stepping in the background, and evade that. And in season 2, you get hit if you go SSR here in the background. Sorry, season 1. And now in season 2, we can do the same thing here. We can do an SSL. And now as we can crouch here, we can do SSL. There we go. This basically makes all our situations the same. You just got to remember to do the same directional move from the character's perspective. So if you're looking at Steve directly on, going to the left will evade this down for 1, no matter if you're on the left side or on the right side. It just gets added now that if you're crouching, you can also do a sidestep left in this example here, if you're on the other side from a crouching position. Jin versus Xiaoyu. The first scenario involves Xiaoyu leading a feathered fan down back 2. After this hit, Jin is a crouching state with a -5 frame disadvantage. From a rain dance stance, Xiaoyu has a variety of follow-up options, many of which are difficult to evade and need to be sidestepped to the left. In season 2, however, even when Jin is on the right side, he can now sidestep into the foreground left from a crouching state. This allows him to sidestep Xiaoyu's moves more effectively, adding risk to her follow-up choices, forcing her to think twice before committing to an attack. There we go, we can SSL that heat smash. As we move over. Cannot go into the background like this, because this SSR will get clipped from that heat smash. So the only choice on P2 side was just to block it and await the next mixer. It's the same thing in season 2. Go SSR here, will get clipped. But now if you're on P2 side, after that hit, you can still go SSL and evade that heat smash as a follow-up. The fourth and the last example that Katsu has here for us is Kazuya vs. Safina. The final scenario differs from the previous examples, focusing on how sidestepping can create a significant risk for the opponent using multiple hit moves. When an opponent's health is low, uninterruptible multi-hit attacks that mix low and mid or low and high hits become particularly effective for finishing them off. While using a low parry can be a viable option, if the opponent times the attack well after your Okami, you may be forced to deal with it. A common example of this is Safina's Euphrates cannon, down back 4-2, which is often used in scenarios where the opponent tries to chip away the remaining health. When anticipating, the opponent will commit to both hits of Euphrates cannon, even knowing that the second hit can be avoided with a left sidestep. Season 1 presented a limitation in which hand position on the right side, P2 side, players couldn't sidestep to the foreground, left sidestep, after blocking the initial hit. However, with the introduction of Season 2, players can now sidestep to the foreground directly from a crouching state. This means that regardless of which side they're on, they can effectively evade the second hit and deliver optimal damage, adding a significant risk for opponents attempting to finish with moves like Euphrates cannon. There you go. And SSL that second hit. But on P2 side, we can't, because there's no way to go into the foreground from crouching block. As we see here, from crouching, We will get clipped if you try to SSR. So, Season 2, we can still do it on P1 side, of course. Go SSL to evade that second hit. As you see now here, also from this side, we can go, well, can't go SSR because we're going to glitch, but SSL from crouching state, we can evade this and then punish. Now, personally, these are great and at least going in the right direction. There's still, however, a lot more things that they could do to help the defensive play of Tekken 8. I know at the same time, they also want to create a different identity from Tekken 7 and not just want to make it the 2024 version of Tekken 7. My personal gripe really is with all the tracking that's in the game of non-homing moves. Homing moves are supposed to be tracking. That makes them homing, but so many moves are still also very intensely tracking to a degree where I think these seems like bug. We'll see how they go on into the future. At least they are willing to revert and changes, you know, with Tekken 8 Season 2 version 1, so the second update. They're going to remove all the chip damage again from successfully breaking throws. Good. What remains after that remains to be seen. I'll be there on Tuesday checking out the full, of course, update list. We're going to check it all out. We're going to read the updates. We're going to play a little bit of Anna and play more, of course, as well of Season 2 of Tekken 8. And I hope you'll join me for that. I'm going to be streaming every day for a little bit to really focus in on Tekken 8. And I hope I see you then as well in chat. See you later.